Hey everybody, Jim Perry from Reach Stewartville here. Today's Reach Reflection video is brought to you from out at Bear Cave Park, where I'm out for a little walk. So how many times have you heard someone say, "That's not my problem," when in reality it probably is? So a lot of times when people say, "That's not my problem," it not only is their problem, but it is probably their fault and their responsibility. Many adults struggle with this their entire lives, even though this is a skill that is a part of growing up. Students, listen to me right now. This is not a skill that you want to be working on as an adult. This is something you need to figure out right now. The difference and the similarity between fault and responsibility. There are times when you are at fault for something and it is your responsibility to fix it. But there are times also when you might not be at fault, but it is still your responsibility to take care of that situation and make it right. So one example, a long time ago, my wife and I rented an apartment, and there was a snowstorm overnight on a Friday night, and it dumped between 8 and 10 inches of snow. And the next morning there were several of the residents who needed to get to work, myself included. The parking lot had not been plowed. So when I called the landlord, this person said, "It's not my problem that you need to get to work. It's not my problem that the others need to get to work. It's not my fault that we got all this snow." He didn't want to take responsibility for getting out early and plowing the parking lot. So in reality, was it my problem? Yes, absolutely was my problem, because I needed to get to work. Was it my fault? No. Was it my responsibility to take care of that parking lot? No, absolutely not. But I took it as being that. I took it as my responsibility to do everything I could do to get to work on time. So what did I do? I ended up shoveling about half of that parking lot, so not only I could get to work, but so the others that live there could get out if they needed to as well. So this was an example of a responsibility because of a situation. Sometimes we have responsibilities because of actions or decisions. So if you decide to get in a vehicle and drive, you are taking responsibility for the decisions you make while on that drive. If you rent an apartment, you are taking responsibility for any damage that might happen in that apartment because of you or your pets or your children or friends that you have over. As a student, when you sign the agreement to rent a laptop from the school, you are accepting responsibility for any damages that might happen while owning that laptop. That lease agreement is very similar to that of a lease agreement for an apartment. You are accepting responsibility for those things while they are under your care. Some responsibilities that we have in life are ones that we choose, that we want, and others might be that we don't want them at all, but we have to accept them. So let's consider our current situation with distance learning. Teachers, students, and parents, we all have responsibilities. As teachers, it's our responsibility to prepare lessons that are engaging. It's our responsibility to make contact with students to make sure that they're engaged and that they're actually at class. Parents, it's your responsibility to be checking in with your children to make sure that they're doing that, to be checking Skyward, to be asking questions, to be looking at some of that work to see that your son or daughter are fully engaged and are making progress at school. Students, it's your responsibility to actually be doing the work. Whether or not you want to, it is your responsibility. We've always had a tremendous amount of responsibility, and we've taken that on because of who we are. It is a part of our lives. But this spring, things are different. Teachers, students, and parents, I get it. Some of these responsibilities are not ones that we have chosen. We have been thrown into this situation this spring, not by our own fault, not by our own decisions, not by our own actions. We have been thrown into these responsibilities simply because of the situation that all of us are in. But the point is, it is our responsibility to do our very best and to ask for help and to look for support when we're struggling, and to not pass things off and to not pass blame off on anyone else, but to take care of ourselves and our children and our students as best as we possibly can. Which brings me to today's challenge for you. Teachers and other educators, students and parents, consider the following. How are your attitudes, decisions, and actions impacting those of the people around you? That is your responsibility. I keep saying, now is the time for all of us to step forward and to be the best version of ourselves possible. That is our responsibility. I wish you well. Talk to you soon.